What is the most expensive thing on Earth? Is it a $50 million watch? A $70 million Ferrari? A private jet worth hundreds of millions? No, not even close. What you're about to hear will completely change how you think about money. There are things on this planet so expensive that no billionaire can ever own them. Not Elon Musk, not Jeff Bezos, not the richest royal families. Even if you combine the wealth of entire countries, it still wouldn't be enough. Some of these things are hidden from the public forever. Some are protected by governments, and some are so rare that you will never see them in your entire life, no matter who you are.
I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard.
What you are about to see will leave you speechless. Let's begin. The world loves expensive watches, but this is not a watch. This is power wrapped around the wrist. The most expensive watch ever created is valued at over $55 million. It is completely covered in rare colored diamonds, stones so scarce that most jewelers will never touch even one of them in their lifetime. Pink diamonds, blue diamonds, green diamonds. Each one alone could buy a mansion. Together, they form something that money itself struggles to explain. This is not made to tell time. It is made to show that time no longer controls you. And yet, this doesn't even enter the top tier of this list. Now imagine a car so valuable that when it was sold, the world was not invited to watch. No cameras, no press, no announcement, only a silent room and a single number. $145 million. That is the price paid for the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. Only two exist on Earth. This car is not just transportation, it is history frozen in metal. The buyer didn't drive it, didn't display it, didn't show it to the world. Because when something becomes this valuable, visibility becomes a risk. You don't own it, you protect it.
This is the world's most expensive car. Check it out.
But now, let's go higher, much higher. Imagine a private plane so luxurious that the sky itself becomes your living room, a flying palace, an Airbus A380 redesigned not for passengers, but for a single owner. Inside, there are bedrooms, a cinema, a private office, a full spa, a Turkish bath with real marble, even space designed to carry a luxury car on board. This aircraft was estimated to cost over $500 million. You don't travel with it, you relocate with it. And still, it is not even close to the most expensive thing in the world. Now let's talk about houses. Not mansions, not estates, but a building so large, so complex, that it requires hundreds of people just to keep it alive. In the heart of Mumbai stands a 27-story private skyscraper. This is not a hotel. This is not a corporate headquarters. This is a home. Inside, there are multiple helipads, a private cinema, a snow room that creates real snow in a tropical climate, a garage that holds over 100 cars, entire floors dedicated to nothing but air and light. The cost to build it was estimated between $1 and $2 billion. Today, experts believe its value has crossed $4 billion. This is not real estate. This is a declaration that gravity, space, and cost no longer apply to you. But even this is still not enough to enter the top of the list. Now imagine standing on a yacht, not just any yacht, a floating city, rumored to be covered in gold, anchors made of precious metal, luxury layered on top of excess. It was said to cost nearly $5 billion. But here's the terrifying truth. This yacht likely doesn't exist. It was a myth, a story, a symbol of how far human imagination can stretch wealth. Because sometimes the most expensive things in the world are not objects, they are ideas. And now, we move away from luxury and into something far more disturbing. Imagine an object built not for comfort, but for survival. An object so complex that multiple nations had to cooperate just to make it possible. An object floating above your head right now. The International Space Station, a structure the size of a football field, orbiting the Earth every 90 minutes. Inside, there are laboratories where experiments are conducted that cannot exist on Earth. Zero-gravity science, human endurance research, the future of space travel. The total cost to build it, over $150 billion. More expensive than the GDP of many countries. And yet, it cannot be sold. It cannot be owned. It has no market price. It exists beyond money. But what if I told you there is something even more expensive than all of this combined? Something you cannot touch. Something you cannot store. something so costly that even producing a single gram would bankrupt civilizations. This is where money completely breaks down. And this is where the most expensive thing on Earth is finally revealed. Art. Because art is one of the only things on Earth where value has no ceiling. A canvas, some paint, a name, and suddenly numbers stop making sense. There is a painting that sold for over $450 million. No mansion, no land, no materials worth that price. Just a portrait. It was created more than 500 years ago, and yet it still controls modern money. The painting has been argued over, doubted, analyzed, and questioned endlessly. Experts still disagree on whether the master himself painted every part of it. But none of that mattered, because the buyer didn't purchase paint. They purchased history. They purchased a name that can never be repeated. When something becomes this valuable, truth becomes optional. Only belief matters. And even then, this is still not the most expensive artwork on Earth, because there are paintings that cannot be sold at all. Paintings so valuable that governments have declared them untouchable, locked behind bulletproof glass, protected by laws older than most countries. If these paintings were ever placed on the market, experts estimate they would be worth over $1 billion each. But they will never have a price. Because once something becomes a symbol of civilization, money is no longer allowed to touch it.
Leonardo da Vinci created the painting of Jesus more than 500 years ago for the King of France. It was lost for more than 2 centuries. Then in 1958, it was sold for, get this,
$400 million is the bid, and the piece is sold.
Now let's go deeper. Let's talk about stones. Not buildings, not jewelry, but raw power pulled straight from the earth. In 1905, a single diamond was discovered that was larger than any gem-quality diamond ever found before it. So massive that it had to be cut into multiple legendary pieces. Those pieces now sit inside royal crowns, scepters, symbols of empire. If they were ever sold today, experts believe the total value would reach into the billions. But they never will, because they do not belong to people. They belong to history itself, and history does not sell. Now imagine something even rarer, something that does not come from the ground, something that cannot be mined, something that exists only because humanity forced it into existence. Deep underground, hidden from the public, there are facilities where substances are created atom by atom, not for luxury, not for display, but because science demanded it. The cost to produce even microscopic amounts is so high that governments hesitate to continue funding it. These materials are stored in magnetic fields, suspended in nothingness, because if they touch normal matter, they disappear. And yet, we are still not there. Because the most expensive things on Earth are not always objects you can hold. Sometimes they are places you can never visit, places that exist beyond borders, beneath mountains, below oceans, behind layers of security you will never see. There are underground bunkers built not for comfort, but for survival. Entire cities hidden below the Earth's surface, designed to survive nuclear war, global collapse, the end of civilization. The cost to build some of these facilities is unknown because the numbers are classified, but experts estimate that a single one could cost tens of billions of dollars. And still, even these are not the most expensive thing. Now, let's leave Earth for a moment. Not metaphorically, literally. Machines built to answer questions humanity has been asking for thousands of years. The cost? Over $10 billion for a single instrument.
I didn't come up with this question, but, so this is really odd. But I have to ask now.
I'll ask it. Are you single?
I'm technically just a little more than a year old. A bit young to worry about romance.
Quite right.
I'm gonna smile! Oh God, this is very...
But even all of this, the art, the jewels, the palaces, the machines, the hidden cities, they are still distractions. Because none of them answer the real question. What is the one thing so expensive that money itself becomes meaningless? The one thing no billionaire can ever own. The one thing no country can afford in full. The one thing that exists, but almost doesn't want to. We are getting closer now, and when it is finally revealed, everything else on this list will suddenly feel small.
1 gram of the most expensive substance on Earth goes for $62.5 trillion.
There's this other thing called antimatter. During the Big Bang, the universe should have created half and half.
The most expensive thing on Earth is antimatter. Antimatter is not gold. It is not a gemstone. It is not art. It is the mirror opposite of matter itself. When antimatter touches normal matter, they destroy each other instantly, releasing pure energy. That energy is so powerful that just 1 gram of antimatter could power a large city for an entire day, or fuel the most efficient spacecraft ever imagined. Now here is the number that breaks reality. 1 gram of antimatter is estimated to cost over $60 trillion. Let that sink in. 1 gram.
In this building, they are making the rarest and most expensive material in the known universe, antimatter.
Antimatter is the stuff of science fiction that turns out to be science fact.
A fraction of a teaspoon. More expensive than the annual GDP of almost every country on Earth. More expensive than the combined economies of many of the world's most powerful nations. Even if you combine the wealth of the richest people alive today, it still wouldn't be enough. And here's the terrifying part. Antimatter isn't expensive because it's rare. It's expensive because it is almost impossible to make. Humanity has only ever created tiny amounts using massive particle accelerators that cost billions to build and operate. It takes enormous amounts of energy just to produce a few atoms. And once created, it cannot be stored normally. It must be held in magnetic traps, floating in isolation, because the moment it touches anything, it vanishes. This is the only substance on Earth where the cost of a mistake is absolute. So when you think about expensive watches, luxury yachts, flying palaces, priceless art, remember this. The most expensive thing on Earth is not something you can buy. It is something humanity is barely capable of touching. And that's what makes it priceless. So now tell me, which one shocked you the most? If this changed the way you think about money, hit like. And if you want more stories like this, you already know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.